And it won't be, I don't have to take all that drops. It's just a
Right.
tiny little thing and then it's over.
Well, it is now 6 p.m. If everyone would please join us, we're going to open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We opened at 6 p.m. And has everyone had an opportunity to look at this agenda? If so, if there are no corrections or additions or changes that need to be made, I would need a motion in a second to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the agenda as written. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I vote yes. How about approval of the minutes of the October 4th and October 18th, 2021 meetings?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of October 4th and October 18th, 2021 meetings.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes of the October 4th and the October 18th, 2021 meetings. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Do we have anyone that would be an alderman interviewee for Ward 2 alderman? Take that as a no, so we will move on to number 6, Alcester Area Chamber of Commerce. I believe Amanda Erickson is here tonight.
Yes. Hello. I am here on behalf of the council. We are doing the annual tree lighting on December 3rd. Normally we block off from Iowa, that first block, so there's walking room, and then a little bit for the carriage rides, which are already booked again this year. But this year we're looking to see if we can do from Ty's Construction to the old auditorium block off from 5 to 7:30 for kind of like a standstill parade of lights where everyone kind of can decorate something, they can park it there. And then with you being here too, because I haven't had a chance to talk to you, if we can maybe get for that couple hours blocking off part of the bar, if we can get maybe permission for an open container like we did with the water fights, where people have wristbands and purchase drinks from you, like whether it be hot toddies or something warm in a coffee cup where they can go around and vote for the parade of lights. We're just trying to create this a little bit bigger for the town, make it more festive, and then we'll still do the carriage rides and then the hot chocolate and the cookies out of the shack.
Be the entire 2 blocks from Dakota Street to Broad
Correct.
on 2nd.
Correct. That Christine Hockle and Cam are kind of heading up that portion. I'm just here on behalf of everyone to get that approved. It's kind of their baby that they're going to grow on that, and then Tina and I will manhandle the rest of it. But we're trying to create this where a few more people get involved. We'll still do light up Alcester where the houses are decorated, the businesses are decorated, and then kind of have like floats, or the firemen are going to do one of the trucks decorated, stuff like that. And then people can go around and vote, and whoever gets the most get maybe like a golden Santa. What did she say? A golden Santa, and then chamber cash as a prize.
Amanda, is there going to be an area, like maybe in front of the bar, blocked off for those people that are doing the alcoholic beverages?
Well, the alcoholic beverages would come straight from the bar.
He wants you to put caution tape in
You
front
want-
of the bar so they can't walk anywhere.
I guess I'm wondering, so you have a 21-year-old goes in and gets a couple drinks,
Mm-hmm.
takes them out and gives them to his 18-year-old buddies, what's gonna happen then? Is there any way to prevent something like that?
Well, the
I get what
wristbands-
you're saying, but we were thinking more kind of like what we did with the water fights. We didn't have an area where it was blocked off only.
The
This is all
wristband
kind of-
should be the indicator that somebody is legal.
21 and
So
over.
you see a person without a wristband that's
Okay.
holding a cup.
I didn't
Yeah, she did,
participate in that
she mentioned that.
fireworks.
Yeah, I did
Wristband.
mention possible wristbands for 21 and over. If
Okay,
you don't have a wristband, you shouldn't have a drink.
okay.
And then the drinks obviously benefiting the city bar and coming out of there. Just to liven it up and maybe get people to stick around a little bit more, especially the adults, and vote on the actual standstill parade of lights.
Do we have enough time that we could determine that at our next meeting? I really would like to visit with our chief of police,
That's
if
fine.
that's all right.
Yeah,
I'd like to just get his weigh in on it,
okay.
So
just to be on the safe side. I don't know,
on the 15th, we'll have another meeting.
right? Does that
This
sound
is just
good?
another thought, Amanda, too. My mom falls in that category now as being the senior.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, I just noticed in front of the drugstore, it was all pretty much seniors, you know, in their cars sitting. Would there be a way we could maybe put off then to the north, maybe some area where those people could park? I'm just trying to think so they wouldn't have to
And
walk.
that came across my mind too. I wasn't at the last chamber meeting because I was on vacation, so I didn't really get a chance to discuss that portion, because a lot of people do park right by the shack. Easy for the drugstore, easy for the
Yeah.
bar. I don't know,
Maybe we
maybe
could
we
block
could
that.
even do from
Or
the
up by
bank
Bank corner there or
to
something.
the auditorium blocked off instead of blocking off the bar, and then letting the seniors still park right there. I don't
Because
know.
I'm not against them. I just think we gotta have a spot.
I agree with you too, because there are a lot of seniors that can't walk. It is cold. They want to
That's
sit in
probably one of your
they want to be
benefits.
there for the festivities, but they don't want to be out in the cold.
Just
So,
something that maybe we can, in the next 2 weeks, you talk to your people.
okay.
Would that be all right?
What about limiting the center parking to those?
Yeah,
seniors?
just something that we could,
that would work.
My worry is having kids running and then cars driving. That's my biggest worry.
and seniors.
And seniors, that too.
Well, the other thing is, if they're gonna be, I'm just gonna use the word floats, sitting, that's gonna take up
Yeah.
space that was parking area.
Yes.
I'm
So-
just thinking maybe we could just block off where the shack is, a tree
Mhm.
north. And then still leave the main street open.
On Iowa, you're saying?
Yeah,
From
That's
Iowa
not that
and then go from the bank to the auditorium, you're saying?
no, you know that shack,
Yeah,
then just go north up, that's,
She's saying block off Iowa
Iowa.
and not Second Street.
Right.
But the reason last year we kept Second Street blocked is because I think Danny does a special, or some people. might
he'll be
have
open till
supper.
7 that night.
And so if people are down having supper and then they walk up, they don't have to worry about cars when they're crossing from Arlene's.
but I'm thinking up north more, past that.
In
Right.
addition to.
That's
blocking
already
off
blocked
the-
normally. Because kids are always running from, because where the tree is at the funeral home to the shack, we have that street blocked.
North, okay.
Because they're going across.
If you read letter B, it says block off Iowa Street between Arlene's and the Alliance Communications
okay,
Building,
Alliance
which is the
Communications,
equivalent of
yeah.
about a full block.
Yeah,
And
Not
we
quite.
usually block that off every year regardless. I don't know, they're trying to do this new thing to grow
Oh,
it
and
and do
that's
the parade,
fine.
like
I
a
think it's a
standstill
good
parade of
idea.
lights. Kind of like a trunk or treat, which I think is really neat. It's just figuring out the logistics of it, I guess.
Right. No, I think it's a good idea. So,
I think so too.
So I should be back here in what, 2 weeks?
2 weeks from
Well,
now.
You guys, do you want to make the motion tonight for blocking off the street?
We can deal with that, I think, but I would just like to deal with the alcohol portion of it 2 weeks from now. That's all.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. In that case, I don't know if you have anything else you'd like to share with us, or?
And it's only from 5 to 7:30 would be the block off on the street.
Sure.
Usually they kind of disperse depending on weather as well, so.
Well, anybody have any other input, output, or whatever? If not, we would need a motion to allow the blocking, the street closure. We'll just put it that way.
I'll make a motion to block off Iowa Street between Arlene's and Alliance Communications Building, 2nd Street between Pies Construction West to corner 2nd Street and Broad.
I'll second
Proud of myself, I actually wrote Lucas right in there. All right, well, we now have a motion and a second to close the street December 3rd between the hours of 5 p.m. and 7:30. The streets, I should say, and that would be Iowa Street between Arlene's Cafe and the Alliance Communications Building, and then 2nd Street between Pies Construction West to the corner of 2nd Street and Broad Street. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I vote aye.
Good luck with your program.
Thank you.
I think it's going to be good. We'll move on to number 7, public input.
I have public input. I just wanted to let this be on the record. First off, I would like to say that the first people I met when I moved here were the city finance officer, the deputy finance officer, Chief Christie, and at the time it was Officer Scull. They're the reason I fell in love with this town. And so I fell in love with this town because of these people. And recently, it's been brought to my attention a lot of bad mouthing. And whereas I don't always agree with the city office, I do back them. They have a lot of input that is important, and I've learned a lot. I don't get me wrong, I don't always agree with everything, but I feel that the bad mouthing and gossiping that people are saying, now they're bringing in the city council. And I do not appreciate being called lazy, and I do not appreciate being told I'm an embarrassment when I came to this city to help it. And it's very disheartening to hear what I've been hearing about people that people don't know me that are saying this stuff. I think it's an embarrassment that some people that are on the Chamber of Commerce are saying things like that. I don't think it's good for our city for people to read that. And it's just very disheartening, and I'm very disappointed. I do agree that there is a lot that needs to be done, but people don't know everything that goes on behind the scenes. And when we have executive session, you don't know what is said because you're not on the council. But you shouldn't go around bad-mouthing people and saying things when you don't come to the meetings. People that, this is the most people I've seen here since we had the alcohol license thing. So it's just very disheartening, and it saddens me that people in the community and people on the Chamber of Commerce would say such bad things and say about people that they don't know me. The people that said this don't know me.
Can I ask you a question? So, and I'm not agreeing, disagreeing, or anything, I'm just trying to figure out, is this something that was posted, like, say, on Facebook or something like that? Is
Yes.
that how?
It was on social media, and people commented. And I get, Vickie does her vlog, and you know what? She has the right. I agree with Vickie sometimes. I don't agree with her sometimes. Just like I agree with the city officers sometimes, I don't agree with them all the time.
Sure.
But you can't make a change if you don't work at it. If you want a change, come to the meetings. That's what I had to say about that. And also, I did notice there are some signs that are on on 46, wait, I always get myself.
Yeah.
46 and 13. They do not look very pretty, and they make our town look like a ghost town. Something needs to be done about those signs.
The sign you're talking about is like the one that says golf camp,
Yes,
swim.
because why would you
That-
want to go shopping if you, I mean,
That's in the works too, and the HRC has already been dealing with that, as well as, I believe, a member of the chamber was about ready
okay,
to.
because
They've
that,
been working on that and getting votes, trying to
Great.
redo both signs.
But
That's
again,
awesome.
it's not an
yeah,
overnight thing.
that's just
Now-
like everything we do.
With the temperature, who knows?
It
what's
won't
gonna
be
happen.
done,
I mean,
probably.
it depends. If we did it vinyl, they could do it any time of year.
Right.
But
That was all I wanted to say about that. And also, I do want to say thank you to our new police officer. He called me this weekend to verify that the open shelter door was already damaged. And I was just so startled and happy that he called me to verify that it was done so I didn't have to write a police report. And I just thought, good work, you walked the park. And that's it.
any other public input?
I do. First of all, last meeting, there was a vote to pay Austin his on-call time. Was that paid to him? Has that been paid to him already?
I don't know the answer to that. I
Yes,
don't.
it was paid today,
It was paid
That's
today?
right, it wasn't.
Why the delay?
because we had already cut the payroll checks, and I didn't do a special payroll, and I let Austin know the next day. I let him know after the council meeting and after it was voted upon, that it would be on November 1st, the next time we did payroll.
So he's been waiting all this time for you to get around to doing it, correct? Yeah.
I don't
I'm
appreciate
thrilled with
that.
that. Going on. There were gaps in the warrants that I had asked to see. I will let you know which ones that I was missing. Let's see. Oh, the other thing is now I'm going to presume that former Chief Christie had some on-call time due. Was that paid to him in full?
I believe his account was completely settled up when he left.
Okay. I think that's everything I have.
I want to speak on Austin's behalf of the meeting the last time. I don't know why he had to fight when you guys had agreed to pay him. I don't understand why he had to come to the meeting and ask for that. From June 6th until September 25th, he was on 24/7. You guys agreed to compensate him for that. I don't understand why he had to beg for that. And then why he was put down on his call when you can't, he misses family functions. He, drop of a hat, he's there. You guys have no clue. Answering a phone to get a dump key, that is not on call. he is there for you guys. He puts his heart and soul into this town. He wants to be here, and I don't understand why he had to beg for that money. That should have been paid to him immediately when he turned in his hours.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Austin did turn in his hours, and he turned them into the office, and they checked them. And Austin missed something, and he acknowledged that he did, so we adjusted that. So if we had paid him immediately, he would have had to pay back to the city. So, but it is all correct. He missed somebody's hours that had worked part-time for him. So I think it was for the best that we did wait to pay him, so we could pay him the correct amount. I agree, he should have been paid all along.
Yes, he should have,
Is what
that
he
should
should
be
have
on
been paid.
every, that should be
Absolutely.
on every paycheck. That shouldn't have even been a
Yes.
question.
And that is our mistake. We screwed that up.
Right.
That's the way I feel about it.
I do too.
Because it feels like he, to me as his mom, it feels like he was being taken advantage of.
Yeah, no.
You know, and that's because I'm his mom and I'm gonna stick up for him no matter what.
We
But
did
I
not
feel
want
like
that.
he, you know, for 4 months, he was your
Yes,
guys' lock, stock, and barrel. And it feels like he was thrown under the bus, you know, because the job wasn't posted, he was left alone, and then there's all kinds of excuses why he was left alone, why that job wasn't posted. You know, that tears at my heart
Yeah.
because he was in danger for those 4 months.
I totally agree with you. I totally do.
So,
And we should
I-
have been paying him all along for that.
And I just think, you know, it's, to me, it feels like it's negligence and that he was just trying to be pushed to the limit. And,
Yeah, I feel he was too. I absolutely, I definitely do. And in connection with the on-call, I've had lots of people comment on that they thought he definitely deserved his on-call pay, but they did not think other employees were due on-call pay. I have checked with county people, and there's a snowstorm, they do not get on-call pay, waiting for a storm. So I just thought I'd tell you, I had several calls and emails about this.
I had somebody at work that brought up the same thing. They said, I don't attend the meetings, and I probably should on occasion, but they said, I'm fully in agreement that all of that on-call pay should be paid. And I said, well, it is going to be, it is being paid, but I also agree, though, that we should have
Yes, we should have, definitely.
been more proactive. We should have been on the ball. And
Yeah, because we knew he was on call, so, you know, that's our fault, not Austin's.
well, and I was a surge tech for 10 years. What you're paying him for on-call pay is beans, but that's another day. But mine was on every, and I know his is prorated, he explained it to me because I was furious. But my on-call pay was noted on my paycheck every 2 weeks. And his should, I mean, it should have been there. He deserved that money, you know. And I understand it was paid, but he was working his butt off.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes, he was.
And I just want,
I would just like to inject one comment, because I'm gonna stand up for our office. Our office took the brunt of all these negative comments that were made. And there was not communication from the Public Safety Committee or from the mayor that this was going to be paid on a continuous basis. He was getting the on-call pay that we knew he was supposed to get. We didn't know that it was agreed upon that additional on-call pay was going to be paid. So I'm sorry that you feel Austin had to come and beg for that money. We, Wanda and I, were doing our job with as much as we knew. And there was just a lack of communication between the Public Safety Committee and our office.
But it always seems like there's always a lack of communication when it comes to the police officers. Definitely.
I think there is for everybody, and we're working on that. I mean, in all honesty, we just did Linda Talbot and I just did an employee review for an individual that's been working for the city for many years. They've never, ever had a review, ever. There are people that have been working here for 20+ years. They've never had a review, ever. How is that possible? And it's only possible because we don't really, we're not trained to become aldermen before we become an alderman. There's no class you can go to, so it's kind of like you just learn as you go along. Well, we're working on accelerating that now, but we
But your
probably
law
should-
enforcement is somebody that you guys need.
Oh,
So you
absolutely,
need to
yes.
make sure that they're being taken care of, their complaints are being taken care of and taken into consideration.
Right? You're right.
Because you need them. You cannot do without a police force in a town.
Can I say something on that?
Sure.
Speaking of, I've recently joined the ambulance. I can't talk much about things, but I can say someone in this town is alive because of Austin. He was first on scene. I was second. If Austin wasn't there, this person wouldn't be here.
Multiple
Well,
times.
exactly. So
This-
there
this-
is a huge need for our police.
This police department has
And I've seen
actually
it more firsthand
consumed
recently.
their allotted amount of Narcan a number of times. It's not,
I think consumed might be the,
yeah, well, used up, maybe that's a better word. They've actually used up their allotted amount of Narcan that they were given a number of times.
Yeah.
And that's scary to think about. In a town of 800 people,
I mean, it gives me chills just talking about it, but this
I know.
person would not be here had it not been for Austin.
Mr. Mayor, if I could make a comment about this, I appreciated Austin coming in and talking because I did not know anything about the extra on-call time that he was supposed, I guess,
On call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, and,
But, I mean, he has a certain amount every month that he.
right,
Right.
absolutely.
Repaid.
But I had no idea that, first of all, that he was gonna be coming to talk to us about that. And definitely voted to approve that, but, I think it was good of him to come and explain it to those of us that weren't on the police, the public safety
Safety
committee,
committee,
that
that's
didn't know
exactly.
anything about that, so.
Exactly right.
I didn't feel that he was so much begging as the fact that he was explaining what he thought he was due.
I would like to add a little bit into that too.
Sure.
What I'm kind of curious about is, you know, what was said at that meeting, at that last meeting, was that this was a policy, that he was supposed to be paid the on-call time as part of a policy. Has anybody read that policy since then and made sure that what the actual terms were said in that policy? And if that was a policy, why did it actually need to be voted on, and why wasn't it just said that it needs to be paid?
The on-call that we were paying was for his above and beyond. It was when Chief Christie left, and Austin took over
24/7.
He took over 24/7, so he basically took also Chief Christie's 40-hour work week plus his 44-hour on-call. So and it was our lack of communication
Yes,
between, it was
definitely.
the mayor, myself, Brian, you weren't there, I don't believe, but Linda and myself, we were there.
I mean,
When Chief Christie resigned, we did the exit interview. And the mayor spoke with Austin about taking over as chief. And then, so it was our lack of communication that informing the city office that he was taking all of that on call as well. That that the county wasn't taking it. I guess it's the way.
So may I ask another question in regards to that? You know, he had 4 months that he went without getting paid that on-call pay. We discussed this. Why, when he was turning in those hours, why was no question ever being asked about whether we should pay those, you know, whether the city should pay those or not? You know, I understand that you were just saying that there was a lack of communication, but why wasn't there ever a question raised? You know, I was raised and taught that there is no such thing as a real stupid question, you know, especially when it comes into terms for that. You know, why did that question never really come up, and it took 4 months in Austin coming in here to actually get an answer to that?
Well, he was paid his on-call time.
He
The
just,
policy says that each officer has X amount of on-call time, and they're allotted that amount of on-call time paid. He was paid that. The thing is, just like Cindy said, this was above and beyond those hours. And those hours were not submitted as anything billable, or what do you want to call it, put into a warrant for payment. So,
Because that was never told to anyone else.
correct.
Correct.
But if he still turned in those hours, and he was turning those hours in weekly, I would assume?
he did not, no.
He did not?
He didn't,
No.
he didn't turn them in.
That's the whole
He
point.
didn't turn
So,
them in weekly or monthly.
Until the end. And now we all
Until
of
we
a
got
sudden got all
Grayson.
this information, and we were like, well, we should have probably thought about this 3 months ago.
Yes.
But we didn't, so. But we're trying to make it right, so.
I would make one comment. At times, there's been confusion between on-call time and call-back time. And that is defined at the federal level and stuff. There's a difference between being called back and being on call. Those are two different things, and I just would like to point that out.
I don't know what callback is.
Call back is when you get a call, you're on call, sitting in front of your TV, watching TV, and you get a call and say, hey,
You gotta come back to work.
yeah, you gotta come back to work, there's an accident.
Okay.
So then you punch in and you go to work. That's callback time. Right?
Oh, see, I didn't, the way Austin explained it to me is he clocks in.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's callback
he
time.
did.
He clocks in,
Yes, so he just,
so that's his callback time. When he
Right.
gets called for that wreck,
and he gets paid a
But he
different,
gets paid
regular
regular.
way.
yep, so he didn't,
Yes.
that's not hours that he turns in, that's clock
No,
hours,
he
that's callback
figured it
time.
all out,
Yeah, that was all noted.
yes.
So I guess that does go back to my other point, you know, has anybody actually read the, what his payment is since that last meeting to make sure on all that
Absolutely.
information?
In fact, that was what we used to put together all of the dollar amounts that we paid him. Is there any other public input regarding this topic or any other topic?
I do have on the reviews that we did, I don't know
Yes.
if that's, what are we doing with them? Where do I turn my review into? Do I give one to the person I reviewed? And do I keep a copy? I'm not sure what we do.
Every employee has an employee file.
Yes.
That's where the review, the master, if that's what you want to call it, should go.
Okay.
In that employee file for
Okay.
that individual. I don't know why you wouldn't be allowed to have your own copy of it. You
I've always
signed it.
at every place I've ever worked, when I've had a review, I always get a copy.
Right, and I think that the employee should have.
So
it.
then we give one to the employee and we, okay, that, I just need to know because I have not done it, I've got them all in here.
Okay, so those masters should go into the file for
All right.
safekeeping.
And that way, when you want to compare them next year to
Okay.
the previous year,
Okay,
That can be done.
yes.
Okay, I
Good
have
question.
one question, not on this subject, something else.
Yes,
Your new clubhouse community center, what is going to be opening soon? What are the hours, and are they going to stick to the hours? Because, you know, this summer, the clubhouse there Oh, I was tired, I wanted to go home, so I just sold them a bunch of six-packs and let them sit out on the patio all night. Why is that allowed to happen?
I didn't know.
How come? Well, that's what I'm saying, nobody knows, nobody checks on that. They sell them beer and then they could sit out there till 3, 4 in the morning and drink beer on city property? Does that mean I could sell beer to customers and say, yeah, just sit out front and drink it till you're ready to go home?
Don't believe I ever saw anybody out there past 10 or 10:30.
When you were there,
Well,
when you were there. I've heard from several people, and I believe it because I know it's happened. I've heard from several people, and that's fine, but the liability you guys are taking on, when that door is locked, everybody should be out of there. They shouldn't be on the property.
True.
That's the only problem I have, is sitting out there drinking when the building is locked.
All right.
It's city property.
Technically speaking, the officers should be alerted to something like that.
Well, who's
Whoever's
gonna
on
be a
call.
snitch?
Whoever's on.
Who wants to be the snitch? Nobody.
Tell me who's going to enforce this, Teresa? Who is going to enforce an ordinance that says thou shalt not have an open container on private or public property? Who's going to enforce that?
When you're closed, when the building is locked up and the employees are gone home,
So who's supposed to enforce it?
well, I have no idea.
I think they're called
No trespassing
officers of the
after
law.
hours.
So that's why I say, you call a person a snitch, but no matter what, the right authorities have to be involved or it can't be dealt with. How else can it be dealt with?
Well, I don't know.
I don't either.
Should have cameras maybe. Somebody could check the camera and see if they're out there drinking.
And then, again, the only way to deal with it after the fact would be to have the officers involved and take that camera footage and say, Johnny, Janie, we're gonna bust you because you were drinking after 3 a.m., whatever, I don't care, pick a time.
Well, they could drink wherever they want, but I'm just saying on city property,
Right, that's what I'm saying too.
well,
Same thing
that's,
in the park, anywhere.
are they gonna enforce the hours at the golf course?
Well, I would assume that there would have to be enforcement of the hours.
Not, oh, we got people in here, so we're gonna stay till 2 tonight.
But the enforcement of the hours is only going to be done by the officers of the law. Because there's a law that says you must close down an establishment like that at 2 p.m., or excuse me, 2 a.m. So I can't go there and say, hey, you're busted.
No,
But
you
know
can't.
what, I think that if somebody, I'm sorry, I shouldn't just dip it, but I agree with Teresa. The last person that leaves needs to tell the people, I'm sorry, we're closed, because we are liable.
I agree.
So the person that leaves, that locks the door, says to the customers, time to go.
And I agree that
And
that's what
they-
they should say. Does that mean that that individual won't drive away, drive 3 or 4 blocks and turn around and drive back after the individual's gone and sit right there and do the same thing anyway? There's no
That would be
guarantee.
ridiculous.
So,
that's
just,
breaking the law too, because you can't take beverages, alcoholic beverages
Yeah.
off the golf course property.
so, again, I mean, all of these, it's just like parking a camper on the street illegally. Who enforces that? The police. It's like having a pig inside the city limits. Who enforces that somebody's breaking an ordinance? The police department. And I mean, we're already saying that they're all spread so thin. I mean, they got so much drugs to deal with, it's hard to believe that they even get a chance to sleep. So we want to have them spread even thinner. Or we need a third officer, or fourth, or fifth, or sixth. There are issues that we're talking about here that we've had many conversations about, and we've tried our best to find money to deal with some of this. It's impossible to find money if you've got a finite amount of money to deal with. So, we're not arguing that it's not good input, it's excellent input.
Well, do you have hours set for your new building?
I don't
Not
think they're
Okay,
established.
that's all I needed to
They
know.
will be.
Will be soon, I know.
When's it supposed to open?
That's a fine question too. I don't think anybody here can answer that. I think only the people that are building the thing can answer that. And actually, I don't even think they can answer it, because as I've seen, and many people have seen that do business, you've seen it at main attraction. Something that you order is supposed to be here this Friday. Well, 6 weeks go by and it's still not here. And you contact the people, oh yeah, it should be here this Friday. 3 weeks go by and it's still not here. And it just happens over and over and over again. You know, it's not an excuse, it's just a fact. It's just the way it is. I know that they've had things that they need that they can't get their hands on. So,
My latest delay is the booths and tables for the dining room. I was supposed to have them on the 7th of November, and now they're saying delivery between the 10th and 15th. So that will be the last thing that I'm holding on.
Has that building been inspected by the state electrical and
All of
et cetera, et
those
cetera?
inspections are happening, yes.
Was there a function there?
Yes.
How can we inspect if it's not completed?
Temporary occupancy permit was granted with the banquet hall and restrooms.
Who's issuing those permits, by the way?
Jeff Ellingsness,
I'm sorry. Oh, okay, thank you.
is there any other public input regarding this topic or any other?
I'd like to add to Pat's comment. The event hall, hallway, restrooms, fire suppression system, and fire alarm system were all operating and had been checked before we had the event.
The only other public input I received today is in reference to the HRC, and it was from one of the occupants of the Lee Drive fourplex. One of the things that the HRC has been thinking about is possibility, not written in stone, not even a good plan formulated yet, but the possibility of selling the fourplex to try to then do more redevelopment of the community. So I shouldn't say we, the occupants, the renters of all 4 of those units were just talked to, and it was discussed that we were interested in getting some pictures taken, and we've now decided to back off from that because of definite hard feelings on their part concerning it. So that's the only public input I have. Is there any other public input? If not, we will move on to number 8, legal updates. Property nuisance updates. Mr. Nelson.
Mr. Mayor, I had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Clausen's attorney, today, I have forwarded him a inspection report that was completed by Mr. Fillingsness when he looked over the porch that was built pursuant to the building permit that was issued. He identified a couple of other issues that he thought in terms of severity or needing to be addressed first. Put those in that report, and I spoke with Mr. Clausen's attorney, Steve Huff. Steve says he's going to get it to his client. His client's going to go through that list and let us know, hopefully by the end of this week or next week, what he plans to tackle next. I think that will help move forward on that property. Also got a chance to talk to Jim Paulson about his plans for his home at 505 Ofsted. He let me know, working on maybe getting some windows, looking to get some of that taken care of. And then Mr. Fillings and I spoke about that today. We're going to prepare a letter to Mr. Paulson just to let him know kind of what potential outcomes could be and give him some time to get things done. I confirmed with Jeff Fillings that the house would need to probably be cleaned in order to be considered. So talk with Mr. Paulson and see what we can come up with, and hopefully give him a little time to get back on his feet and get his house taken care of.
Okay. Do you at this time feel that letter B is necessary, a motion to move into executive session?
I don't, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. In that case, we will move on to item number 9, the redistricting resolution. That was that,
Yeah, I don't know
we
if
don't
Sam,
have it in this
I
packet.
don't know if Sam drafted it.
I do not have a draft, I apologize, I haven't had a chance to draft that
All right.
for you folks.
We will then move on to item number 10, 2006 Sterling A9500 dump truck.
As I kept you guys informed, we did not win the bid on the Mack truck. And after, or actually, Lonnie came in contact with this one in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, while the bid was actually going on the other one. So it was possibly a blessing in disguise that we didn't win the Mack, but Lonnie is leaving tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock to go to Cedar Rapids. If this truck meets his expectations or standards for a vehicle for us, he would like your blessing to purchase it. It actually would be coming in less than what we had budgeted. There is probably we will have to replace the 2 front tires on it for sure. The rest of the tires, I think, will be acceptable. It has a lot of the same features. It does have a side wing, it does have a sander, and it also has the chain in the bed. And probably the biggest benefit is the stainless steel box. I'm very excited about that. That is something that will not deteriorate, so that is a huge bonus. So we did put, last week he did put a $500 deposit down just to hold it from Friday through tomorrow. And depending on what your guys' decision is, if he has your blessing to purchase it.
I did go and look at our old dump truck.
That's pretty sad.
That was, that was very holy.
What was the budgeted amount that we,
50.
50 even?
Well, that was what we had in the budget.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't know what our maximum for the auction was, but
45.5 was the max that we went on the auction, and it went for 46,000.
And there's no way of knowing, I mean, it could have gone to 60.
Yeah,
Who
that
knows?
person, it was a very immediate bid, so they already had set
Yeah.
a maximum in.
This is nice because it's at a dealership, isn't it? Or-
Yes, this one is at a dealership.
So that's the price. Well, I don't know, maybe they're open to any negotiating.
I'm gonna say no.
We need the right negotiator. Anyway. I don't know if anybody needs any other discussion time regarding this, whether you want to make a motion to approve that purchase, assuming that it does meet with Lonnie's approval.
What'd you notice, Lucas? What you told me, what you noticed?
Well, I would say, if, once he gets there and everything checks out, I think it'd be all right, but, if the hood is damaged more than something just dripping on it. Lonnie did kind of mention that the right front fender, something has spilt on it. We can live with that, but if it's broken, cracked up, fiberglass will spread. So we'll be looking at, repairing the hood or putting a new hood on very costly, but, I think mechanically if it checks out and everything looks all right, I think we're set to go, but, I think if we might need a hood, we might want to just back off because that's going to be pretty expensive to, replace that hood.
What are the,
Because I'm assuming that hood is the front fenders in that hood would be like a one piece. And so, I know some of the old Peterbilts, which this is a Sterling, they cut that out on a Peterbilt and then put a new, I guess, put a new fender on and whatnot, but, I think it'll be all right overall, last year they made the Sterling, was 2009, they don't any longer make them, but, yeah, I think there's a lot of life left in the truck as well, so.
So you're talking about the actual fiberglass may have cracks in it bad enough that it would require replacement.
Well, I don't know if Lonnie, they kind of mentioned something that spilled on it, and, if you jump on the internet, you can kind of see it. There is different colors on the front fenders, but it's very hard to see if it's cracked through, you know what I'm saying? So if it's cracked through, it's gonna spider web and it's gonna work its way up side of the hood, and,
Yeah.
which, it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
we couldn't tell from the pictures. We zoomed in on all the pictures as close as we
Yeah.
could, and we couldn't tell if it was something that was trying to be fixed with some sort of a compound, or if it was truly something weird with the paint or a stain.
I think it might need a cutting edge on the front blade, but that's just normal wear parts, it's used, something used, so.
Any other discussion? We would need a motion, or we're going to move on to number 11.
I guess I'd make a motion to approve the purchase upon personnel inspection at $39,900, GF Street Department.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the purchase of this Sterling dump truck for $39,900 coming out of the general fund in the street department. Is there any other discussion?
I'm just wondering, will that come out of this year's budget or?
It will, so we will have to do a,
Resolution.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5 yes. So, it'll be interesting to hear what he sees or what he determines. Alcester Community Center, hiring staff. There are
Those of
3 or 4 things there.
Those of us on the community center committee have been interviewing people. We have a couple other interviews coming up, I think, but Landon Nygaard is going to be our event coordinator. Basically started working on that valve because his supervisory position at the golf course is done, that is closed up. And he gets paid his, basically an 8-month salary in 9-month, or in 12-month increments. And we've negotiated with him, and for the November and December, he will get an additional $500 a month to book and work at the events that are upcoming for the end of the year. And then we will negotiate that or renegotiate that depending on how much work he thinks that he's been doing and can tell us about. So I guess I'd like to make a motion that we hire Landon Nygaard as event coordinator at a rate of $500 per month, effective November 1 today.
I'll second it.
So obviously, he's going to be paid his normal wage because he gets his normal wage every month for 12 months. And the $500 extra is just for that event coordinator 2-month period. Correct?
Yeah, that will make him a full-time employee. He'll have something to do about.
Okay, motion has been made to hire Landon Nygaard as event coordinator, as you heard, adding $500 per month for the months of November and December 2021 to his normal rate of pay. The effective date would be today. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Landon is the event coordinator.
This last week, we had the opportunity to interview Corey Kroger, who has some experience as a bartender, waiter, and cook at Burt's in Beersford. This would only be part-time, and it would be if we approved it, it would be a dual pay situation when he's a cook and not earning tips. He would get $11 an hour. And when he is a bartender or waiter earning tips, he would receive $7.50 an hour. He's probably going to work 1 or 2 evenings a week and possibly 1 weekend a month. The evening times would be during the week.
And the effective date would be, God only knows.
We can hire him now with the idea that he won't be earning any pay until the place opens.
Okay,
So effective now, I guess, November 1. So the rate of pay, the new rate of pay is $11 per hour as a assistant cook working in the kitchen, and $7.50 per hour when he's a bartender or waiter.
now the only thing I didn't hear,
I would make a motion to hire Corey Kroger as a bartender waiter at $7.50 an hour, and as a part-time cook at $11 an hour, effective November 1st.
I'll second that.
motion's been made and seconded to hire Corey Kroger as part-time bartender / waiter and part-time cook. The cook rate would be $11 per hour. The bartender / waiter time that would also include tips would be for $7.50 an hour, effective today, November 1st. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And lastly, we had the opportunity to interview some young folks that will be helping us out as bussers. dishwashers, or event servers, if we need some servers in the event hall. That would be Karina Colfrey, Jenna Manning, Evan Brown, and Ava Kingma. And I make a motion to hire those 4 young people at a rate of $9.50 an hour, part-time. And that would be effective today with the idea that they won't be working until we get started. Get opened up.
I'll second that.
Excuse me, $9.45 an
Yeah.
hour.
Okay, let's change that.
Sorry. Maybe that changes your mind, Cindy.
Motion has been made to hire part-time workers Karina Palfrey, Jenna Manning, Evan Brown, and Ava Kingma as bussers slash dishwashers slash event servers for $9.45 per hour rate, effective today, November 1st. Is there any other discussion?
Just as an explanation, Mr. Mayor, there's several regulations about hiring young people to work. And we have a low temperature dishwashing system, so someone younger than 16 can operate that. They can't work more than 3 hours on a school night, and they can't work more than 20 hours total in a week. So we explained that all to them. We have several hired. There was one at the last meeting, and now we have these 4, so that we don't bypass or offend any regulations, make sure they don't work too much.
Sure. All right, well, there's a motion on the floor. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yes. We'll now move on to item 12, cleaning quotes.
Landon contacted 3 different companies to come and take a look at the community center and to put in a bid what it would take to clean the center once a week. There's only 2 quotes that you're looking at because the third company chose not to drive down to clean the facility. So the 2 quotes that we have is VCB Cleaning out of Harrisburg. They offered a very detailed quote. This is for a month's time. And the other quote is from Sparkle and Shine. They are from Dakota Dunes. And they offered it as pretty much a one lump sum. And they're both very similar. And I did ask Landon which company, after meeting with the representatives, that he thought would be a better fit. And he made the recommendation of Busy Bee.
And that will save us $300 and some.
Well, and to be fair, Sparkle and Shine took into consideration that November is a 5-week month. So they're very similar.
That would be more than this.
Right.
And Busy Bee says when there is a 5-week billing period, the
Yes.
price may vary, so it could possibly be higher than that.
And you'll provide them, or Landon will provide them with a sales exempt form, so that $84.50 will be,
Correct.
it'll be about $1,300 per month.
And it will definitely fluctuate if we don't have an event. They probably wouldn't need to spend the 3 to 4 hours cleaning on what they call the ballroom.
So they're willing to adjust if there's.
And they'll come in just 1 day a week to do this.
Correct.
Okay. And our staff will have to take up the slack.
There'll be a cleaning routine each evening.
Right, yep.
But this will be a more thorough clean.
Yep.
Any other discussion? If not, we would need a motion.
I'll make a motion to hire Busy Bee Cleaning to clean the community center. And the funds would come out of the community center fund at a rate of $1,300 per month. But it could vary on this.
I'll second that.
So I'm. Okay. Oh, Dave, second. So I've got down here motion to hire Busy Bee Cleaning Service out of Harrisburg, South Dakota, to clean the community center, being paid out of the community center fund at approximately $1,300 per month, depending upon some adjustments. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 12 is done. Number 13 is equipment purchase.
And this equipment being plates, bowls, mugs, platters, soup bowls, glasses, carafes, silverware of different types, wine glasses, cocktail glasses, a blender, booster seats, 4 booster seats, 4 high chairs, folding tray stands, different types of, different sizes of non-skid serving trays, because the waitresses could carry items out to the servers. Beverage servers for liquids, salt and pepper shakers, 2 dish carts to hold all the dishes so that they can be stored appropriately, busing utility carts, and accessories for those. So we've got more than 35 different kinds of items. Some of them will be several dozen, like dinner plates. We'll get 33 dozen of those. And the price that you have listed there, after some adjustments today with our chef, the price, actual price is going to be $19,160.36, which would provide us with all of the dining equipment, plates, silverware, everything we would need to run a dining room and the event center.
And when I look at page 3, there are 2 items that have a slash line. I'm assuming those are just not part of the,
Well, you notice those are alternate, so we could do either number 9 or number 10.
gotcha.
So
Okay.
we nixed 10, and we could do either number 11 or 12, and we nixed number 12. Basically the same thing, just 2 different styles.
And evidently the small wares package was also,
Yes, we're gonna buy things, instead of getting this package, we're gonna buy what we actually need. Some things we already have, such as degreaser, some disposable items we get from Mark.
all right.
So, we already have some mops and
Does he have his stuff there?
Yes. Or it's a short delivery.
Sounds good.
It's not out of the ship.
It's not on the water. That's right.
Not even on Oakwood.
No.
So I hate,
Letter B, instead of 26,562, should actually say 19,160.36, is that correct?
correct, yes. I hate to be the person that demands all of your time, Mr. Mayor and council, but I would like to make a motion to approve the purchase of dishware for Maxwell Equipment in the amount of $19,160.36 coming from the Community Center Fund.
Second.
Okay, Cindy's the one that actually got the entire phrase out, so Cindy seconded. Motion and a second has been made regarding the purchase of dishware from Maxwell Equipment per this estimate that everyone has in their packet, totaling $19,160.36 to be paid from the Community Center Fund. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I just uncovered this, and I should have brought it up at public input. I apologize that I'm going to say it now, but we did get a very nice, I should say, Landon got a very nice card of thanks. Thank you for your help in organizing our event. Looking forward to December 5th. I don't know who Emily is. There's no last name, but Emily.
It's a family Christmas party. Large family.
So that's nice to see. The next item is the wastewater facility upgrade and the soil borings.
So Tanya Miller has been doing some behind the scenes thing, getting ready for our wastewater facility plant upgrade. And they contacted two companies to do the soil borings. And it was the Banner Company, which came in at $7,500, and Geotech, which came in at $6,250. And Tanya did recommend that we go with Geotech. The city has also used Geotech. They did the borings for our community center, so they are familiar with Alcester, maybe not this wastewater plant area, but they are familiar with the community. So I did provide their specs of what they will be doing, and they offered a detailed map of the borings, so.
Those holes are pretty deep too.
Well, I think they're looking to see if there's any structures
Right?
that they need to be aware of.
And 42 feet. 35 feet.
Well, and that's on a hill too, number 5 is on a hill. So that's a rather large hill between the top of that and down where the road is.
So, is there any other discussion regarding the geotech information in front of you? I guess, where is the actual dollar amount?
They're under fees.
It's kind of hidden in their,
I see it.
yeah,
Give me
it's on
just a moment.
page 2, the center paragraph on their fees.
So, that is 6250, correct?
Yes.
Pretty serious stuff. I don't know if anybody needs any more time to look that over, or want to have any more discussion, or we just move forward with the motion.
Try to get it done, we can't proceed.
Gotta be some boring in everybody's life, right? So I would need a motion to approve that geotech boring estimate. Or actually, it's not an estimate, it's their bid.
I think it could be an estimate though, because if you read here, you know, it says, depending on the soil conditions, that the rate could be up to $15 a foot, depending on, you know, the footage, if it's more or less, you know.
Oh, sure.
So I would say it'd be an estimate. So,
Good. It's a good point.
I guess I would make a motion to hire geotech for the wastewater faculty, upgrade the soil boring for $6,250. An additional $15 a foot if footage is changed.
I'll second it.
Actually, they do say plus or minus, really.
Yep.
Correct? So it could be additional, or could be less.
Could also wait for that, right? Nothing usually works out.
That's rare. Is there any other discussion regarding this?
Mr. Mayor, could you clarify when you said plus or minus? Is the plus or minus on the 6,250, or is the plus or minus on the $15 a foot?
No, it would be $15 a foot positive if they had to drill deeper.
Okay.
It'd be $15 less if it, per foot.
Okay, thank
If
you.
it was shallower.
They're estimating 206 total footage.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. Nope. Yes, we do have some discussion.
Not the end of the world, Mr. Mayor, but section 12.5, payment to pay all reasonable litigation expenses or collection expenses incurs, including attorney fees. If there's like amounts, you know, how I feel about those. Not the end of the world, but I'm sure we mind having that taken out of there. If we can get them to do that.
Okay.
And if we can't, that's fine, and I think you can
Go forward with the motion, and if we can get them to take it out, then it's green, huh?
Yes.
Everybody hear that? Well. All right. Well, armed with that little tidbit of possible deviation with the general conditions, item 12.5, there's a motion on the floor to approve the geotech engineering and testing services to go forward with the soil boring tests. Estimated cost $6,250, and we use, I just put in plus or minus $15 per foot, depending upon deviations from their expected amount of boring. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Getting closer to having the school facility up and running too. That's a good thing. As far as the HRC update goes, we did have an HRC meeting. We're considering a number of different things, not the least of which is any number of these properties that have already been cleared. There's one in Ofsted. There might be another one there that could be developed. I mean, there are a number of different places that could possibly be earmarked for redevelopment or development. We've also just been fortunate enough to have sold another lot, which I can't remember exactly what the number is. 7, lot number 7. It's actually right directly east of Connie Lundberg's house on the corner. Nice house, gonna go in there. It's looking good. It's really starting to shape up. We've also considered, don't know if it's gonna happen, but I guess right directly south of that is a lot that doesn't belong to the HRC. I don't even think it has a number, does it? I mean,
It has an Anderson Street address.
so it is right on the corner, the inside corner of that Beck Drive curve. And we're considering the possibility of purchasing that as well. One of the things we've talked about is maybe the possibility of even building a twin home. We don't know whether this is going to happen, but we do know that it's just like the movie. If you build it, they will come. It just seems like if you get something built, people say, well, yeah, I'll buy that, I'll move into there, whatever. So if it's not built, it's like they can't visualize it, so they can't, see it happening as a reality. So not everybody, but
Regarding that topic, I was asked to get the council's opinion and legal opinion. If the sale of those proceeds from lot number 7 could be used to purchase the one across from Steve Johansson.
directly east of him.
Yes. I took the stand of wearing the city hat and said it was the understanding when this bond was taken out that all proceeds of the sale of any lots would go towards paying down the bond, being the city is paying interest only on that bond. But I did say that I would bring it up to the council and to you to get your opinion if that is an option.
Do we have any paperwork that tells me about do we have any paperwork that tells me about the bond?
I have the bond book. I was gonna give it to you for your review, just that I would like to get it back when you're done.
Okay. Do you feel safer having me scan it, or do you?
Well, I hate taking apart bond books because they're the spiral bound.
No, I can bring it, and we'll leave it with Christie, that's how I'm safe.
So, anyway, so the HRC is having a meeting tomorrow night. I believe this is one of the topics on discussion, but, and I guess, is it something that would be in HRC's ability to do?
So, as far as using monies that they have, I looked at the bylaws and I got a chance to read the statute that governs. They have the power to borrow money to incur debt and to pay that debt. If the debt is owed to the city, subject to bond conditions, that money may have to be paid back. If there's nothing that says that proceeds of sale will be paid back to the city to pay down the bond, then they would get to do whatever they want with it. against their bond. So it would depend on the bond, but based off the information I was provided earlier today, there wasn't anything prohibited.
Yeah, I don't think they provided enough information because I was looking through the bond before the meeting and I feel like there's more details in there that you probably need to look at, but.
So what's the benefits? What this person wants them to buy it, what is the benefit to that person? Why do they want you to buy that?
They don't want, we want to buy that to control, this is how we said it, who will be building there.
Oh,
That
okay.
someone bought this lot and
Okay,
they haven't built anything there,
okay.
right? Am I right?
You
Right.
are correct.
And it's a pretty good sized lot. It's large enough to put Uno on.
And the benefit of the twin home and on this particular lot, you could have either a north-facing driveway, a west-facing driveway, and for sure a south-facing driveway. So one of the twin homes would have an address of Anderson, and the other twin home would have an address of Beck Drive.
Okay.
So what was it sold, when we sold it, what was it sold for and what can we buy back in?
That I don't know what.
Maybe that
purchase
isn't
price
public
was.
knowledge.
Well, I'm sure it is, but I didn't bring that with me tonight.
Did the
This is
purchaser pay the advertised rate, number 7?
It'd be one
This
house,
is
two houses attached.
The purchaser bought it from someone else. I could do,
Well,
who bought it
this,
from
this
us?
isn't lot 7 that we're talking about.
Yeah.
This is the one that's right directly east
Yes.
of Steve
Yeah.
Johansson's.
And you
And
wanna
so it's
know
not
what-
really part of the Beck Drive development, is it?
Correct.
No,
I mean, it was
was
just a
individually
lot
owned.
that somebody bought on Lee Drive,
Yeah.
or excuse me, Anderson.
So, I'm talking about lot number 7. Supposedly it's sold.
Right.
Was it sold at the
That was
advertised
sold
price?
Yes.
at the full advertised price, correct. I'm sorry.
Do you think we'll be able to buy this other lot? HRC would be able to buy this other lot at that same rate, or price?
I can't remember. I know,
Comparable size-wise, we went by the size of the lots, and if you took the size of this lot 7 and the size of this one, you did like square footage,
Mhm.
yes, that way.
very
About-
close.
They're about the same.
Well, it's whatever was paid for lot 7 square foot is, how do I wanna say?
Comparable.
Okay.
Yeah, size-wise, you know, it might be a little more, I can't remember, I got all that at home.
Yeah, I wish I would've brought it too. They are very close.
Is that something that we need to decide now? I
No,
mean,
as a matter of fact, this is just the
this is
HRC
just an
update.
update, okay.
Tomorrow night, we're going to have a meeting
Yeah.
as the HRC, and in theory, we're going to discuss it, but we're going to also have
Yeah.
input from our legal counsel. at that
So
time.
are these meetings open? to
Yes, they are.
anyone?
As a matter of fact, there's an agenda posted on the window right there.
May I ask a question? Was that the Bergdale property?
yes,
Is that in an estate?
I'm sorry.
It's not in an estate now.
Okay,
No, it belongs to a gentleman from Hayward.
okay.
He was going to build on it for his son, and then his son chose a different location.
Okay, thank you.
So that's really all I got for the HRC update. Probably we'll have more next meeting.
But the sale of the fourplex is,
I think it's gonna be on the back burner now. We're just gonna probably, it's not definite no, it's not definite yes, but it's something we need to consider because eventually this fourplex is going to get old enough that it will start to be a drain on the HRC, which, as everybody knows, that will cause increased rent for every single renter. And I guess that may be some incentive for the renters to become owners rather than renters. And I don't know how feasible that is, but
I just hope we don't end up with 4 elderly people. Oh, let's speak.
Yes, that's right.
that's exactly that was the thing I said right out the gate when we started talking about this. And that's why we're kind of rolling back. So we do not want to upset people, but we do want to make them fully aware that we're not going to go under just because we're going to keep rent low, you know, so. Anyway, that's it for item 15. We'll move on to item 16 and the warrants. Everybody have an opportunity to look at their warrants for October?
Anybody have any issues with anything? I think I signed the biggest one, $194,000. I'll make a motion, we approve the October warrants as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the October warrants as presented. Is there any discussion?
And you probably know that was for a partial payment of the community center construction.
If there is no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Reminders and updates. The new landfill hours kind of limit things on Monday and Thursdays, 2 to 5 p.m. Wednesdays, still 2 to 4. That didn't change, did it? Wasn't that always 2 to 4? And Saturday stays the same as well, 8 a.m. to noon. Veterans Day, November 11th, the office will be closed. Thanksgiving holiday, that would be November 25th and 26th, the office will be closed. And those landfill hours are only going to be through November 30th, at which date the landfill closes for the season. And now we move on to item number 17.
Mr. Mayor, I think it should be noted that the Veterans Day dinner is also scheduled for
That day, yeah, that's true.
you.
Is there any other discussion regarding any of those items or anything else there? If not, then we'll move on to number 17, executive session for personnel.
I'll make a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-21.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to enter into executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2, sub 1, personnel. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5 vote aye. We're in executive session at 7:34 p.m. And before we have any executive session, I would like to go somewhere and have my own executive session. And I'll be right back.
What's that? No. Chairs? Yeah. Supposed to be tomorrow.
That'll be interesting to see if they really show up. Well, everybody's in here, and we're out of executive session at 8:01 p.m. And there's only one item left on the agenda, and that is item 18 to adjourn. I would need a
I
motion.
motion to adjourn council.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn the city council. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Well, just long enough. We're adjourned at 8:02 p.m.